we'll put it on pause for now.
Too hot now. Tommy?
Big thing. So, I don't know. Somebody's got an open mic?
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
we get some preliminaries out of the way, information.
Somebody's deck has got.
You have the press release, and I have assembled here with me
Still going.
a representative. Police department, of course, Dr. Jefferson is here, representing the
Not that one,
students.
is it?
They're going to student hall and Halloween and Devil's Night. And finally, Mayor Jefferson.
Oh, it's just a tap right here. Just tap right here.
We have attempted to bring together
That's this one. All right, take it.
departments who would be concerned with the activities on Devil's Night and Halloween, together with supportive staff and the unions. I think the fact that we brought such a group together, along with the superintendents of schools, will indicate that if we are to deal with this problem, it's got to be tackled by the whole community. And we think we had significant success with a problem that confronted this city some 7 or 8 months ago around the rape crisis that also centered among young people and in schools. I think you all know the type of response that we got from the people, as we had at least 3 task force meetings. We got support from the utilities. The Eyes and Ears programs emanated from that effort. We got active volunteer participation from police cadets, from police reserves, from citizens at every level, including the many station personnel, the CB patrols, citizen band radio patrols, as well as neighborhood watch. We're employing all of these in the period ahead. Now, in addition to the persons around the table, we have other representatives of the departments here, which I will note so that for your information, perhaps you want to question them later. From the police department, we have, as I mentioned, Executive Deputy Chief Bannon, Deputy Chief Richard Dungy, Deputy Chief Joseph Arita, Commander James Younger, Commander Richard Coretti, Commander James Humphrey, Inspector Alfred Dabrowski, Inspector Patricia Zodorozny, right? Zodorozny. Inspector Larry Holland, Lieutenant Ronald Cronin, Lieutenant James Montgomery, Lieutenant Eddie Womack, Lieutenant James Kleiner, Lieutenant George Ruhana, and Mary Jane Prost, 3rd Deputy Chief. Fire, in addition to Commissioner Jefferson, we have Deputy Commissioner Phil Gorak, Chief of Firefighting Walter W. Chapman, Fire Marshal Donald Robinson, Administrative Assistants Marvin Beatty, Richard Stein, and Clinton Watkins. I noticed that the firefighters are also represented here today. Any other unions here that I have not mentioned? Well, that's the firefighters.
He likes to be known by name.
Oh, he does? Well, he wouldn't want to be known by the names I call him. Well, I said firefighter. How you doing? Okay. I believe that we put together a significant effort here, and with the cooperation of all concerned, I think that we can guarantee that Halloween this year and Devil's Night, which comes the night before, can begin to become what it used to be, a time for kids to have some fun, and we have to redefine Devil's Night. I suppose that I can remember longer than most of you here, but when I was a kid, I don't think we had a Devil's Night. We had what we called a soap night and a garbage night. And what we did was wax windows with soap or with wax. Maybe if it was some neighbor or somebody who was particularly hard on kids, you might dump some garbage on their front step or something. But that's as far as it went. The malicious destruction of property that seems to have begun to escalate over the last 2 or 3 years has actually become a serious threat to our community. And it's created fear that I think has to be dealt with. And for that reason, we are attempting at this juncture to mobilize to a maximum the 3 key departments in the city of Detroit, the Board of Education, and the citizens. As you will note in the release, by reassigning personnel, we will have triple the police force on duty both Devil's Night and Halloween. We will increase fire personnel who will be available by some 33%, by 1/3. We also expect to have at least 1,000 various volunteers associated with the police department, either the CV patrol, the neighborhood watch, police reserves, or the minister station reserves, as well as the police cadets. This will be an unprecedented show of citizen cooperation. We will be sending, with the cooperation of Superintendent Jefferson, representatives of the police department to the various high schools and junior high schools in the city between now and next Tuesday, Wednesday, soliciting the support of the students. And we don't think that the responsible students, or the vast majority of the students, are not responsible for what's been happening out there. It's a minority, as almost always happens, that puts the majority in a bad light. So we'll be appealing to those students who are concerned with their city, as we are, to cooperate with us, to the teachers, and to other school personnel. I think that with your help, the media is important, because I think that if you can give a positive side to this appeal, if you can encourage people in this city to join together, say we're through with destruction on Devil's Night, together we can do it. And that's the purpose for this press conference. I have here with me, as I indicated to you, a number of persons representing various actors. First of all, I'm going to ask Superintendent Arthur Jefferson to come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. We're very pleased to cooperate with the mayor and other city agencies to do our part in trying to make our community safe, peaceful community, not only on Tuesday and Wednesday nights in terms of the day before Halloween, but also in other times as well. As the mayor has indicated, we will be taking certain steps in our school system. We've already begun some steps in working. First one is working with our young people, because the overwhelming majority of our young people are good young people who want to do those things that are right, and we have staff at all levels trying to encourage our young people to be responsible citizens, to recognize the importance of being responsible citizens. In addition to that, we will have maximum personnel available in terms of our own security personnel that night prior to Halloween. Our schools, we're working with community groups, thirdly, who live in and around schools, encouraging them to be as watchful, if you will, as possible, because schools belong to all of us in the community. So we're asking neighbors who may live adjacent to around the school building to be particularly watchful and bring to the attention of proper authorities if they see things occurring in and around schools on those particular nights. So those are at least 3 concrete steps that we're taking in conjunction with this program. However, I would emphasize again that when this community is sensitized and mobilized, I think that we can generally do what we want to do. And I think we witnessed that in last year when this community rallied around some very serious incidents that were occurring with regard to attacks on young ladies in particular. And we were able to, I think, substantially resolve that particular problem. So we're working with our young people and staff at all levels. Mr. Mayor, will be cooperating in this program as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jefferson. Next, we'll hear from Al Johnson, who's Director of DPW, and who will describe to you what DPW will be doing in a special sense.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The DPW will have approximately 40 vehicles in 2 shifts, starting at dark or 5:30, whichever comes first. Each vehicle will be equipped with fire extinguishers, shovels, rakes, anything that we can fight small container fires with. Each vehicle is equipped with radios that will be in direct contact with our control room, who will be in contact with the fire department there. Each truck and vehicle has revolving lights and will be very visible, and any fires other than what we can't help, we'll be calling in to the fire department. Thank you.
Okay. And next, Mel Jefferson, Fire Commission.
Let me say this, Mr. Mayor and citizens. Let me apologize to the press first. I haven't answered any of your calls because I knew we were going to have this today, and I know this is where it starts. The mayor's office doesn't start in one department because all departments have to work together. But we've been working on this since last September, what we intended to do. So what we're going to do this particular time, we'll have more equipment out there, we'll have more manpower out there, and also with the fire marshal's office, we'll have his arson people out there and fire prevention people, and also we will have what volunteers that we have in the fire department in the city of Detroit. And I'm sure with the cooperation with all the departments and all the citizens that we've been working with, that this year will not be anything like last year. And I hope the press gives us the good set-off on what we intend to do. Thank you.
What do you want for Christmas then? Next, we'll hear from Jim Bannon, who's the Executive Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and on behalf of all the citizens of Detroit, I thank you for educating our young people on something they've probably forgotten how to use soap.
Wax is better.
Oh, boy.